they can bring that same energy they brought to the Sentinels game, we could have a great match on our hands. When you talk about Barcode, in this entire tournament thus far, he's got the highest KD on his team. So he's the person that we're looking at. He's the focus. But we're starting off right off the bat. Oddball Streets is our first game type.
And with Oddball Streets, you obviously have a really favorable matchup going for it towards G2. I don't say it, you don't say it. Callus says it, and the stats say it, and the stats never lie. G2 are a phenomenal oddball team, but NaVi are not too shabby. When the game needs to be slowed down, when they need to watch those angles and be able to set up on their opponents, they might be second best in this matchup, but not by far behind G2.
It's going to come down to the IGL and Kimbo. I think that he's got to bring his IGL prowess to this game. He's got to step up in the communication, bring it to another level, a level he hasn't brought it yet in this event. And he's got to do it right now because, like you said, a qualification for Worlds this early is so huge for this NaVi roster, but it's also very huge for G2.
Well, you know what else is huge? This series, the implications, this final matchup. It's G2 going up against NaVi, and you talked about it. You want to look at the IGL, especially when coming into a match like Oddball. If you have that ball over toward the C side or A side, it's up to you to make sure that every angle is watched. When that push is coming, it's up to you to move the pieces, to make sure that you are dedicating resources to the proper play. One false move, your setup is broken, and you're handing that ball to your opponents.
It's exactly going to come to that. It's going to come down to the rotations. The teams that are better at rotating end up getting the victory, but Barcode with a beautiful shot on the spikes, that's going to open up the map and give him rockets.
Barcode immediately grabbing hold of those rockets, and we know how important those power weapons can be. Puts it to work, takes down one, tries to snipe one from across the map. Now going to trade out that empty rocket launcher for a Bulldog, but the ball being left behind. A little bit of miscommunication there, and because of that, G2 go 3 down. NaVi gain control.
Honestly, that was very early in the game, but it's a huge blunder, right? You don't rotate that ball quick enough. They come off a spawn on C, and they get the slays necessary, but unfortunately for them, they're not able to really capitalize. Still 0-0 on the board.
0-0 indeed, but that ball sitting in the mid. We have 2 down, going in favor of G2. NaVi nading Gilkey out, and Gilkey's going to be taken down almost immediately. Straight sick, trying to get into the action as NaVi are losing members left and right. Somehow Kimbo able to stay alive over towards the PD side. But what Straight Sick do? Grab that ball, rotate it away.
Look how slow, though, he's rotating it, right? He knows the spawns are coming out onto A, so he wants to make sure that he can put a little bit of defense, a defensive wall, before they go for that ball time. And you see right here, NaVi on the push, very aggressive, and they're gonna get it perfect. That opens up the map, and 3 dead. Sab, last guy alive.
Jimbo now grabbing hold of that ball, capitalize on the slays that they just put onto G2, the subway side now being held, and G2 trying to find an entrance, trying to get aggressive before the setup is put in. But of course, Jimbo drops that ball and gets to work. That's gonna be a double kill. Once again, G2 forced to reset, and Jimbo forced to put pressure.
Jimbo's pressure. It's got to be put on this team of G2 coming here early. They've got to make sure to put the pressure in early and put, of course, NaVi back on their back foot. You see right there, a beautiful kill out of Jimbo and a killing spree to start this game. He's starting off hot, 5-2.
Jimbo absolutely making plays, and a large reason why they have an early start. 3 down, once again go G2. NaVi have to get objective efficient. They're holding on to that ball, and now anticipating the push. Jimbo is daring them to come out of the A side. The rocket ends up coming in, one quickly going down G2, trying to get the backside, the blind side of Jimbo, but he's watching all angles. 2 quickly go down, 3 down for NaVi. G2's opportunity to force them to play the ball.
A great play ball as well, though. 3 down, he's the last player alive. He gets ball in a position where potentially NaVi can contest here. But G2 puts some damage in, rotate the ball quickly, and now they're in tram safely.
G2 so good at holding on to these setups, and if NaVi aren't able to break them before they get locked in, they're going to have a hard time. They find the 2 slaves they're looking for. Now G2 are in setup. Now there's holes in the defense, and NaVi are going to try to expose them. Another 3 down, another advantage going towards NaVi. Capitalize on it. Find those spawns. Find the pressure, and make sure you alleviate it.
I want to take a second to make a contrast for you. We got NaVi since September 9th, have done a boot camp They've got the practice in. G2, they couldn't even participate in the Grunt Classic because their roster wasn't ready yet. NaVi, much more practice. So if G2 win this, their future looks bright.
I mean, you're talking about G2 not practicing together. Barcode, he's been in ANZ, he's been in Japan, he's been all over, been a little bit of Texas. You gotta play the game. You gotta play the game. And so far, G2 haven't been able to get that work in, but you're coming back in this game so far. You're certainly not out of it. Barcode having to clear out the arcade. He ain't playing any game straight stick. Now over toward the subway side, we have G2 really surrounded on the map. They can't go down though. NaVi will be able to grab that ball and steal it away from them.
Regardless of your practice, right? It's about the fundamentals. And on your screen, you see Barcode with the one fundamental in his hand, and that's the Bulldog. Can he use it to make a bark? And he does. This weapon needs to get out of Barcode's hands if NaVi want a chance.
Rockets coming quick. They got to make sure you control those resources. And as of right now, Kimbo's going to put those rockets to work immediately. G2 are in trouble. He's going to blow a hole right through them. There's two stuck on the subway side, and Kimbo's just waiting, sizing them up, lining them up, able to take down one. Can't quite get the second one, but his teammate's going to pick up the pieces. Once again, G2 lose numbers, and once again, NaVi are going to get their chance to set up.
And what was the factor there, Tony? It's the power weapons in the hands of NaVi, and they're utilizing that to potentially bring this lead further. It's 54-50 already to start this game, but a great trade by Barcode gets the kill on the Stalker Rifle player, and now that Stalker Rifle can be in the hands of G2.
Jimbo baiting that ball, daring them to use the Stalker, and it looks like Jimbo will end up going down. Barcode gonna get away with it. As of right now, the Rockets aren't up. The Bulldog isn't up. This Stalker Rifle is going to reign supreme, especially when Barcode is using that ball in the objective as bait. Shots go in quickly from the Stalker to the BR. Swap, don't drop. He would have got that kill.
Swap, don't drop. The hashtag trending. Barcode. A lot of players, maybe, a lot of people, I'm sorry, don't know. Barcode coming from the ANZ region. A player who is phenomenal, that this team in G2 thought they needed to pick up, and he's already making an impact here. We'll see if he can continue that impact on this game. He's got the highest KD, like I said, in this event so far. Three
players of NaVi starting to get aggressive here, but G2 are going to match them, pushing over toward the strong side, coming in out of nowhere, somehow still able to get the kill, but it looks like Jimbo ends up going down. 2 down for each of the teams, and now this next battle going to be so important. Barcode once again getting the Stalker Rifle, trying to gain any kind of advantage. Wish he had some shields, though.
Yeah, he's going to play his life, though, which is great. That's what you got to do, especially when you got a weapon, a resource like that in your hands. Look at the damage he's able to do with those rockets coming up. That was an incredible kill. So Snakey, the last guy alive.
Barcode now trolling the subway side. As of right now, NaVi can't find the entrance. Gilkey with the rocket launcher. Anybody from NaVi that tries to push up are going to go down immediately. Gilkey going to fire a warning one. More like a pucket rocket. A second one going to join it. Finally gets a kill. Can't do it with the rockets. He'll do it with his elbow.
Incredible job. Those rockets being utilized can really set the tone here. 83-60 the scoreline. G2 starting to come away with this. Can they finish this off, though? They need 13 seconds.
Every second matters at this point. Another individual gunfight now going in favor of the opposition. zMightys has to try to find the way into the subway side, but nades are raining down every single inch. He ends up getting killed. The shots are coming in heavy, and with that, G2 hold on long enough to take round number 1. Going into round 2, NaVi needs to respond.
That was an incredible play by Straight Stick. He sat there on those benches, played his life for such a long period of time. It caused NaVi to overextend. They went 3 dead, and G2 closed it out.
Barcode making the sandbox look fancy over here. Stalker Rifle into Disruptor. This man's using everything. Maybe he just don't like the battle rifle. Maybe he's not a fan of the BR.
I mean, the big thing is, you talked about power weapons with Barcode or the sandbox. The thing is, he's got creativity on the map as well. It's one thing to hold the weapons. It's another thing to use them creatively. Unfortunately, he does go down there, but that opens up the map for Sab to get his own rockets.
Rockets in the hands of Sab. Able to finish off that kill with the BR. Not going to waste this final rocket, which is so important, and ends up getting a double kill with it. Beautiful kill by Sab as they look to advance, throwing multiple members onto the subway side. It looks like G2 are going to trap NaVi there. G2 getting into their A-side setup.
We talk about Barcode being the Slayer. We talk about Straight Stick as well, but look at Sab. He's got 66 seconds of all time, and he's 19-9. He wants to win this game. He knows how important it is.
Sab is the entry fragger. He's the one that's supposed to do damage. He's supposed to open up the map for his entire team, but instead, He's putting in the damage. He's getting the ball time. He's doing everything else that needs to be to be an all-around player. Well, we're gonna see who's it gonna be. Who's gonna be that X factor? We're talking NaVi. We're talking G2. This is your continuation of game number 1, where G2 will already up 1-0 as far as rounds. It's NaVi that has to be in the driver's seat. It's NaVi that have to come out and get back-to-back rounds. G2 have a cushion.
Yeah, and that cushion, they cannot let it make them lazy. That's the big part, right? You come out here swinging like it's 0-0. G2 is up 1 round, but don't think of it like that. Think of it, this opening strat, as a chance to close this first game out right now. This is your chance. Game number 1. 1 round in your favor if you're G2. If you're NaVi, zMightys, step it up, show them the slayer you are.
In the first version of this game number 1, we saw how important these power weapons are. We saw how important the Bulldog and the Rockets and the Stalker rifle is. With this map being so small and you being able to identify those spawns almost as easy as you do on live fire, you have to control the sandbox. Jimbo is able to get away with the Rockets. You can't allow that to happen if you're G2. Like you said, don't get sloppy.
Right, G2, in the very first round of this game, they had control of Rockets in the very beginning, but now looks like a little bit of a split here. 2 down for each squad, with 10 seconds on the board for NaVi at the start of the game. They've got to win those pips. Straight kind of being in a situation where potentially he's going to lose that pip. He's got to kind of try to play his life. He's also a very aggressive player. Straight, we talk about zMightys all the time. Straight is a very aggressive player as well.
Trying to figure out exactly what's going on here, but it looks like we still have NaVi and G2 going in this game number 1. It's continuation again. It's G2 up 1-0 in case you guys are new here. And of course, if you're new, you ain't know, Gilkey always putting in the work, dropping that ball, getting the slay, and allowing his team to continue to get aggressive.
And just in case people are joining us, we got to talk about the implications of this series right here. Both these teams in pools are tied 1-1. Jimbo with 35 seconds of ball time. An absolute incredible amount of ball time and incredible slays to start this game. But let's talk about the implications real quick. What does it mean for these teams to win this series?
Again, going to Worlds. It's all about making sure that you get into Worlds, and that's what we're playing for right here, right now. By the way, it's NaVi that are up 38-7 at the moment, so a big start out of them. But G2 also able to steal the ball.
They've got a setup on that tram side. Those Rockets are coming up in 5 seconds, so the fight for the middle is huge. All 4 dead for G2. This is huge. They get the Rockets, and now they have sight on the spawns as well. NaVi doing a great job of controlling the power weapons early.
I guess NaVi needed a little bit of that timeout. They're coming out refreshed right now. I ain't mad at him. I ain't mad at Snakey. Being patient with the Rockets. Gonna pop it off, make that player 1 shot, but not able to get the slay he's looking for off a screen. Sab able to take down Kimbo, so now NaVi are losing numbers. They have to bounce back. They have to win these individual slays. Do not allow G2 to break you so easily.
The rotation's coming out. NaVi breaking easily, as you saw Snakey go down quickly there on your screen. And look at Kimbo. He's got the Bulldog in hand. This is gonna be very essential to potentially getting that ball and holding a setup. But as of right now, no one has the ball. Looking for the slays is NaVi, and they get 2 from G2.
Make sure you look at that white arrow at the top of your screen. It's pointing at Jimbo right now. The man has the Bulldog. He's the one trying to create that pressure. Meanwhile, zMightys, your player of the game, going 6-2, 3 assists to go along with it. That ain't too bad as well, but they need the slay. Kimbo starting to push forward, has the Bulldog out, able to get the slay he's looking for. Straight Sick and Sab go down, but the same for NaVi, go to themselves. Next round of slay so important, and Kimbo is gonna slow things down, allow NaVi to regain, and zMightys just steals the ball. That's 3 times that shouldn't be there.
That was great by Kimbo, right? He stayed alive on the top of C, right? He was able to put shots into multiple players. That's a player you like on your team. Put the damage into multiple players and give your team the opportunity to come off spawn and set up.
Mighty the ball in hand, having the Bulldog as well. If anybody gets into the close quarters, he's gonna put them down, but the nades are starting to come. Luckily, Snakey has his back, able to get the slay. Now they're gonna slow down just a little bit. They need to get the kills before they dedicate to the ball. NaVi end up going 3 down. G2 doing exactly what we expect them to do, hunting down every 1 shot.
3 dead for NaVi. That means G2 gonna have a little bit of their own setup, but when you got Kimbo playing as aggressive as this, becomes very difficult. For anyone just joining us, just so you know, G2 They are up 1-0 in this game in terms of rounds, so it's up to NaVi and Red to make sure they tie this up right now.
Despite the fact that the slaves are so close to each other, we're still actually seeing NaVi with the objective efficiency. You're talking about a 58-25 lead. NaVi doing a great job of just making sure they get every single ounce of ball time out of this. And now G2 are going to find themselves 3 down. NaVi already in their subway side setup. Barcode needs to make a play. He needs to slow down G2. He's able to take down Kimbo. He's able to get the assist onto the second one. Maybe it's G2 that are able to push up over toward the B side.
That's the openings that Barcode creates. Look at him still going. He grabs the ball as well to put a little bit of pressure on. They take care of the last player on NaVi that's on the C side. That's a threat. And now they've got the power weapons and they've got the ball in a setup as well.
But it's NaVi that are only 30 seconds away from coming out with the win. So G2, they want to keep things close. They got to get value out of the Bulldog, and sadly, he ends up going down. That's going to be devastating for G2. They're going to try to rotate this ball away, but NaVi are beginning to surround them.
Surrounding them doesn't matter when you have such a great rotation like NaVi just did. That with a big kill, though. The ball's in the middle of the map. It's going to be very difficult to get that ball into setup. Of course, as I say that, just free for Sab.
Bracer goes down. Not able to stop the double push out of NaVi, dedicating those numbers, overwhelming them. That's exactly what they're trying to do. Sab ends up going down as well, so NaVi able to get the slaves they're looking for, able to keep 3 alive. Snakey follows it up. G2 might be in trouble here. We're talking less than 25 seconds for NaVi to tie up these rounds.
And that's huge for NaVi, right? They came out of that reset, and maybe it's the reset that they needed, like you talked about. Kind of reset the mental real quick. But NaVi have taken full control of these power weapons thus far. If G2 gets this one, maybe the game turns around. But look, 7 seconds left is all NaVi needs.
Snakey using those rockets as bait, doing the best he can to try to stay alive, but it's only a matter of time before G2 start to push up. G2 stealing away the rockets. 3 down, go NaVi. Kimbo, the final player alive, has a drop wall for the defense, but G2 are already rotating that ball away. NaVi have to come off a spawn. NaVi have to break.
Here's the IGL and Kimbo. The problem is, he gets trapped. Jimbo goes for a little bit of a flank there, but not enough timing on their side. But they still find a way to get ball, and they get 2 dead as well. They're looking to tie this up right now.
1 second away, not able to stop that ball. It looks like NaVi are able to put their first on the board, and technically G2 have a round. We're tied up. Next round takes it.
And this is a huge game number 1, right? It sets the pace and the momentum for this series. A very important one at that. The winner of this potentially finishes 2nd in pools, which means they qualify for Worlds. See if G2 can continue the pressure they had in that very first round. And they've got to control these power weapons as well.
This man's dodging rockets left and right. He's dodging bombs and somehow ends up with the stick. Great life out of Sab. Great ball time out of G2.
Snakey, the newest member of NaVi, having a really solid game, 15 and 10. I've got to talk about Jimbo. Wonderboy called him a very selfless player. He sacrifices his life to create openings. He knows what he needs to do to win, and he does it.
So far, NaVi once again find himself 3 down. G2 overwhelming them onto the A side, but NaVi starting to spawn up over towards PD. G2 might have been a little bit slow on that push. NaVi had time to not only stay alive, but to also spawn up over towards PD, and now it's NaVi that have the numbers, and G2 gotta speed up there.
G2 have to be quick on those rotations. NaVi are doing such a great job of capitalizing on the first couple kills they get in the game. And again, NaVi keep applying this pressure, and they can potentially close this out.
So far, a bit of a back and forth action as far as in the Slaves department. Both of these teams trying to really almost fill each other out. Getting this map control is oh so hard, especially with how close and how similar both of these teams are as far as play style. We have Straight Six sitting over toward the PD side, forced to drop the ball, gets himself the kill. Gilkey's gonna win his individual battle as well. So when G2 are getting those individual battles at the same time, and NaVi find themselves 3 down, how much ball time, how much free time is that for G2?
It's a lot of free time. You can see they get the lead. They're approaching 30 seconds as well. And it comes down to Coach Callis. Such a smart player, such a smart coach, I should say. able to know exactly what the right play is, exactly when to rotate, and he's calling those plays at every moment, and he's also calling the rocket timer as well. Once again, G2 get the power weapons.
There's no shot. I just saw him steal rockets, jump up, be within, I guess the mistakes were made this thing. Then he just thrust them back, and with the rockets to work. Okay, G2. I see. Hey, style points count. I'm going to give him extra 10 points right now.
Absolutely.
Is that legal?
Give him 15.
Okay, 20.
Yeah, there you go. Though that rocket kill was huge though, right? Because they were at 30 seconds and now another 23 seconds added to that clock and counting.
Barcode looking to stay alive.
That's important. Staying alive is the most important thing. When you're the Slayer, just like he is, you've got to make sure you play your life and you're able to put a lot of damage on the opposition.
Way down go NaVi once again. Kimbo, the final player, able to find a line of sight onto the ball player, able to get nades off. G2 got to punish him. He's isolated by himself. NaVi with 3 down, and Kimbo's just roaming around the map willy-nilly. He's on back. Hey, they don't know where he's at.
Yeah, he's going to make a good play here. This will be a huge play. He did. They got him. They got 2. 3 down for NaVi. That was a huge play right there because he rotated to the strong side of his team. He saw one of his teammates on Cafe, made sure to rotate towards that side, and they made a solid push as well. G2 take an incredible lead here. This is huge.
They got lucky. Like you said, Kimbo was making plays. Kimbo was behind it. I'm not sure how G2 ended up alive, but they end up getting the 4 down, and that's what they do best. They turn lemonade out of lemon, 72-15 lead in favor of G2. You're talking just 28 seconds away from coming out not only with this round, but also the game.
On the side of G2, look at the ball time here. All spread out, but straight 6, 63 seconds. Incredible OBJ work out of him. But NaVi now looking for a comeback in this game.
Rockets coming up. NaVi trying to man the ball at the same time, also trying to create an angle onto the Rocket side and find the slays at the right timing. G2 end up going 3 down, and Snakey gets probably the easiest rocket grab so far in this game, so far in this series. They know that G2 should be spawning up Subway, but they're actually taking the pink route. Snakey's a little bit far behind. Sab already finds the kill off the screen. The nades are starting to land. Snakey, you need to rocket somebody, and I guess yourself is good.
I mean, it was really good timing though, right? Because that player escaped towards that caution side. He had no idea that player was there, and then they got information on him, but they still get the rockets anyway. They're able to utilize the second one to get another kill on the G2, and now a little bit of a setup here in back PD. This will be huge if NaVi can convert a couple more kills.
G2 trying to get aggressive, trying to throw off their timing before NaVi are able to get to the defensive stance, and it's seemingly working, but NaVi is still soaking up all of this ball time. So Snakey onto the purple side, doing a great job of staying alive. He gets a spawner over towards Cafe. It's Jimbo down to 1 shot. He goes. Jimbo ends up going. Snakey as well. That's a big break for G2.
That Cafe spawn is so very important. It's so heavily weighted on this map as well. But G2 come out on top of that one. 16 and 17 with 14 assists for straight 6. Only 11 seconds remaining, and G2 will win this. If you're just joining us, this is a tie game right now in rounds. Both have 1 round. So whoever wins this one will take this first game.
G2 were so close, they can taste it. At this point, victory might be guaranteed. NaVi not in position to get this ball out of their hands. Sab is just hiding in the corner, holding onto this ball for dear life, and just like that, G2 take what seems to be round number 1, but actually, that was 2.
It was great to see. Sometimes you gotta take the ball like that, just cower it in your hand, just keep it tight, keep it close like Smeagol. Don't let him touch it. And that's exactly what he did to close out that game. Game number 1. That's a beautiful game number 1 for G2. Honestly, I think it could have been really much better for NaVi if they found those openings, but I think that G2 played better at the end, of course.
The one thing I would say about NaVi, you just played G2 on their best game type, and you kept it that close. Obviously, G2 are an amazing Slayer team, but I will say, if you can play them that well on Oddball, why can't you do the same thing in game number 2? Slayer on Catalyst. What do NaVi have to do?
It's going to be about that triple push on one side, right? You've got a staggered player kind of going on one angle and then triple pushing on the other side strong. It really starts to overwhelm teams. Then you've got that rotational game, right? You send 3 players one way and you see the other team kind of rotate all the way around. It's kind of a cat and mouse game at that point, but it's all about who gets more kills and who controls that skewer. With the sword not in play, that skewer is a huge factor.
Yeah, I'm not good with the skewer.
It's because you're not a mouse and keyboard.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I miss every shot. It's tough. It's tough, but I know who is good with the skewer.
Who is it?
Barcode.
Ooh.
We saw that man absolutely go off in the North American Super. And not only just with the skewer, but also combining it with the grapple. He's able to just stay alive in all these crafty ways. He goes around the map, goes under the map. Hey, watch out. If you can't find Barcode, you might want to look up.
If you're skilled with a skewer, I mean, it's just like the Rockets in a sense, right? You're opening up the map. That very first initial kill is ginormous for setups. It's ginormous for map control. And, of course, power weapons. You get that initial kill, that's potentially an OS if you time it correctly.
Overshield is so important on Catalyst.
Yes, sir.
Spawning over towards that bottom mid. Every inch that you're fighting for towards that mid map, it's always to try to play for overshield. There's no shot that you can allow your enemy team to control the overshield and you win the game. The game is won usually through that overshield. Skewer's nice. OS, king.
I've got to continue to add to these resources. That grapple, Tony. We've seen some crazy things. Players jumping off the map on purpose, and then they grapple up, come back over the map, and you're like, I thought they were dead. Nope, they're still there. They get the kills, again, opening up the map. It's all about that pressure, though. That pressure on the one side, you send multiple players on one side of the map, have that anchor on maybe the opposite side, form a pinch, and you got to play.
So far, it's 1-0 in favor of G2 right now. I've been really impressed with the way that NaVi has been playing and keeping things close. Like I said, Oddball was their best game type. The only problem is that they're so good at Slayer as well. It's obvious that G2 have an advantage here, but I'm not giving up on NaVi. I saw what they did to Sentinels. I saw them take that game number 1 and make Sentinels sweat, almost more than I'm sweating right now. They made them work. They're going to do the same to G2.
Yeah, I mean, NaVi really put up a fight against Sen, and that's something that when I talked to Wonderboy, NaVi's coach, he said the same thing. In their scrims, all the games are so very close, and they want it, right? Since September 9th, I talked about this before, they've been boot camping. Boot camping is very draining on your mind and on your body, of course. They were doing that since September 9th. They're ready for this tournament, but it's crazy to me how G2, without any practice, are able to come into this tournament hot, able to come in and potentially take this series. I mean, that game number 1, we talk about how important that is, but G2 look really good with not a lot of practice. What are they going to look like with practice?
They'll look even better. G2 have a great opportunity on their hands. I'm really proud of NaVi. Really want to see what they can do here on Catalyst. It's really tough when you go against a Barcode who's so elusive with the grapple, so versed with that skewer. I gotta keep my eyes on Barcode, especially going to this game number 2. On the other side, we see Snakey's POV as well as far as the stats.
Right.
1.14, not bad. 88 on the board. I'm actually happy with Snakey so far. And I will say, from what I've heard from Gaskin, and what I hear from Shurzy, man's a vet. Man does what he needs to do in order to win. It's one of the biggest, if not the biggest roster that Snakey has played on so far, and he has an opportunity to really show off.
And that's the thing, right? Being a part of a big org like this, there's a lot of pressure on you, and it doesn't seem like it's phasing him at all. You've got all that pressure on your hands where you've got to impress this org. This is your biggest opportunity right here to give your org that potential, world's qualification. And he's doing just that. He is playing phenomenal in this tournament, and of course, in this series thus far as well. A couple more plays go a certain way, and NaVi could take the next game. They could have even taken that first one.
Catalyst's going to be game number 2. Only 2 Slayers so far in the series, and that's kind of lucky for NaVi because, like I said, G2 obviously well-versed when it comes to Slayer. NaVi, they got it. They got to tie things up. I would actually argue and say that NaVi would have to treat this game 2 almost like a game number 5, because the last thing you want to do in a best-of-5 series is fall 0-2 to have to put yourself in having to reverse sweep in order to win. I'm not saying reverse sweeps aren't possible, but I will say you don't see them every day.
What do you think about KotH Recharge for a team like NaVi? I feel like that's one of their stronger game types and map combination. So again, it comes down to surviving the Slayer, surviving G2's strong game type, making it to maybe your strong game type and taking advantage. I'm pretty sure that when I talked to Callis, he said G2 aren't very strong on King of the Hill. It's a newer game type, right? A lot of teams don't have a lot of practice. But if you've been boot camping since September 9th, you're going to have plenty of practice on this one.
I'm excited to watch them go into King of the Hill. Going to be just as excited to watch them going into Strongholds, but before we get there, it's got to be Slayer. It's got to be on Catalyst. And in my opinion, NaVi, they got to win.
It's a very important game. We talked about it. The mentals. You come in here, you tie this series 1-1. Your mental completely different at that point. This is a must-win for NaVi. They do not want to go down 2-0 in this series. But G2, this is one of their strong points, right? Slayer. Can they capitalize?
We talk about the mental often, and hopefully G2 aren't in the mental of NaVi after that game number 1. It was pretty dominant. G2 were looking clean. Now we're gonna have the opportunity to respond here. A 2-1 lead so far for G2, but what's most important is those resources. Who got away with the overshield? Who got away with the skewer?
The resource is so very big, as are the trades. 3 down for NaVi. Each trade right now going in favor of both teams. You want to make sure if you're in a situation you're not going to get out of, that you get that trade so you can keep this score close.
Nades to go in, G2 overwhelming the skewer side quickly. We see Kimbo making plays with grapple, taking to the skies to try to stay alive, ends up going down. What goes up must come down, and so will Kimbo, tied up at 7 apiece. That's my lucky number.
Love it. Something else that's lucky is the fact that Sabinater is playing just like he did in that round number 1. Wait a minute, and he stays alive once again, but he gets taken out. We talked about the grapple and how it's utilized on this map. Sab almost stayed alive there.
Getting a little fancy, 5-2. Loving the way Sab has been able to play this so far, but it's NaVi that are playing them even better. Taking them down in every single turn, but it's Barcode cross-map shots starting to connect. I think I saw Jimbo, who's able to get away with that skewer. We have Kimbo and NaVi holding down the blue side of the base. Both of these teams fighting for that 50% map control.
A very even score line thus far. Unfortunately, you still see Gilkey out of position there. Look at the strong side of NaVi. 3 members on that side of the map. G2 have to rotate out if they want to stay alive.
Another overshield coming up. Sab already in position to ping. Look at where he's pinging. He knows that the pressure is coming onto this side. He's making sure that eyes are trained on it while he tries to play for this overshield. This can work out well for G2. And of course, NaVi find himself 3 down. Right before overshield is coming up, you gotta stay alive. And Sab, you steal OS. It's a 1-kill game, but watch that scoreboard now that Sab has the OS.
It all comes down to the value that he gets out of it, right? But a huge play, the timing on the kills. They got the OS scot-free. Unfortunately, it's gonna be all gone with the shots from NaVi. But G2 looking to make a stand here.
I will say, Sab was able to get away with the overshield, but NaVi doing a great job of simply countering it by melting him, but they don't need the OS to put him 3 down. Even though have no OS, G2 start winning almost all of their gunfights. Kimbo having to make a play literally by himself, takes down 2, but Sab gets the assist, and G2 have control.
1 go down for NaVi, and 16-13 is the score so thus far. We spoke about Barcode, we spoke about Sab. I haven't talked much about Gilkey there, 7-3 in this game thus far. As he comes on screen. 3 down once again for NaVi. G2 are really starting to come away with this game. If they can continue this momentum, this game's gonna get out of hand.
And G2 are just so good at slowing the game down, gaining information, formulating a plan, and coordinating and executing it. G2, they played the pacing game so well, and that's the reason why they have a lead right now, 23-17 in favor of G2. Barcode gets that Barcode, gets that skewer, and absolutely shreds 1. Beautifully played by Barcode and G2.
G2's starting to hit their stride, and this is exactly what you want to see. You got Gilkey playing real well. You got Barcode as well with a skewer in hand. These are the impact plays that are going to send this game skyrocketing.
In just 23 seconds, we're going to see an overshield coming up. Both teams now setting up G2 on the skewer side, NaVi on the sword side. This next round of Slay is oh so important. Last time NaVi went 3 down right before this OS went up. This cannot happen again. Barcode with the skewer, lining up the shot. And Gilkey gets it as well. Oh my God.
My word.
Mistakes are made. G2 are 3 down. NaVi, you have to capitalize. It's your time.
That is huge. Only down by 4 kills now is NaVi. The question is, can they take this and move on with momentum here? Can they turn this into more? G2 are all off spawn. Look at the pinch coming from the backside. 3-man
push out of NaVi. Mighty's gonna slow things down. Wait for the opportunity to come in. Kimbo with the overshield. Barcode has him in his sights. Love the shots coming in, but the bait and switch is too much. G2 get punished for going 4 down. That's a fresh 3 down, and it's a 1v1 between Kimbo and Sab. Psych, he has help.
Again, you talk about the value of an overshield. Right there, we saw it. The overshield making the plays happen, bringing this score line close, 24-26 right now. And with G2 playing as well as they are, NaVi come up once again and contend with them. 10-7 out of my man zMightys. Great job.
We've seen three downs in a row going in favor of NaVi. I've been taking notes, Tim. You told me, you said, don't lose OS, don't skewer your teammate. That's what I got so far.
Check.
G2 getting shredded right now based on the mistakes that they're making. And so far, NaVi has been just riding this momentum ever since, down to one shot. Sab is gonna go, tries to challenge out. Jimbo doesn't lose those. Half of G2 going down. Since that skewer shot onto Gilkey, NaVi haven't looked the same.
And it comes down to the hype. Wonderboy talked about it best. zMightys, when he starts popping off, he gets extremely hype in the comms. And let me tell you, it's rippling through the communication of NaVi right now. But as I say that, 3 go down.
Finally, G2, they're able to respond here. Once again, tied up at 30 apiece. Mighty trying to find an angle with that commando. Beautiful shots as he gives us height advantage to chase Barcode down. Figures out a way to put him down. Somehow almost able to get the double kill off the screen. Gilkey takes down one. G2 once again losing numbers. And once again, OS is coming up.
This overshield is pivotal at this point in time when the game is past 30 and it's a 1-kill game. This next OS could be everything.
Cross-match shot, Sab not able to connect onto ZMightys. ZMightys gonna overextend for that one, so he's gonna go down as well, but NaVi should have clear eyes on the OS. Kimbo grabs it, but Kimbo's not able to actually activate it. Now we see Overshield just sitting there.
Gilkey, Callis said, one of the best back players in the game. He's playing his role right there. That OS gonna be null and void. Can he continue to put the damage in? It's the question.
Just a 1-kill game, NaVi having a slight advantage with Gilkey on screen. The pings are coming in. Gilkey's actually by himself. They're able to isolate him, choke him out. Gilkey ends up going down. NaVi gain control of the map. But how does Sab get Overshield?
I thought Overshield was off the map, but again, Sab having that is huge for G2 once again. These Overshields so very pivotal, but look at the game is slowed. The pace is slowed. Maybe they're trying to run that Overshield out. No value has come of it just yet.
G2 showing the respect to NaVi to have a 3-kill lead. NaVi quickly approaching that 50-kill mark. Barcode tries to slide in, but off a screen, looks like Straight gets a kill. Gilkey goes back to back. G2 now coming back into this game, and Barcode immediately taking height.
I talked about zMightys. Look at him. 15 and 10. Slaying just like he's supposed to. Jimbo, though, caught out of position. He sacrifices himself, but they're not able to get anything out of it. They do get a Barcode, but they go 3 down.
Kimbo into action. Able to get the one shot, almost able to take down Gilkey as well. Down to the wire we go. Tied up at 43 apiece. Will it be G2 going up 2-0? Will it be NaVi tying things up?
This OS is going to be everything. We talked about the last one being everything. They tied up the game once again, but now this OS is the game-winning OS right here, and G2 go 2 down. If NaVi can capitalize here, this could be the momentum they need. They only need 5 kills.
Barcode's gonna slow things down, has to win this individual gunfight. Oh! Able to take down Kimbo, but it looks like they're coming right back in. 46 to 44. One squad wipe away is NaVi from taking the game. Gilkey ends up going down. The trade not able to come in. On board with Sab.
It all comes down to positioning at this point, right? 47 to 45. You can't give up any kills. You can't give up any trades. Jimbo has the OS. He's gonna miss the green gun shot. He gets a beatdown, but that's gonna be huge.
Jimbo with the OS. Barcode looking for a kill. Goes right after Snakey. Not done yet. It's 48-48. We're just looking for 2 more kills on either side. And Gilkey gets extended. Jimbo able to find that one. Just 1 more kill for NaVi to tie things up. And we're seeing NaVi gather together. All they have to do is stay alive. All they have to do is put down the damage. Those numbers are overwhelming, and so are these nades.
Great job by G2, though. They rotate out from the pressure. Barcode almost gets a cleanup kill to tie it up to 49-49. But there it is. My word. NaVi are going to come out and tie the series 1-1.
Tied up at 1 apiece. We have ourselves a game. NaVi going to send us into that swing game number 3. Although G2 had all that momentum going into that game number 2, NaVi able to steal it right away.
That's huge. Like I talked about, you don't want to go down 2-0 in a series. And NaVi, they pulled it out when it mattered. It's a very close game. And Jimbo, out of position on that very last play. I was a little nervous. He jumps out of there alone. You know, he's been known to sacrifice his life for plays, but no play comes out of it. But they still come out on top.
You called it before the series. You said this is going to be going into a game number 5, and with how tightly contested this has been, I'm inclined to believe you. I really believe that G2 and NaVi can go to a game number 5, because this is an absolute fight and so will King of the Hill be.
I would love for a Game 5 in our very last match. And of course, a very important match. Like we talked about, if you're just joining us, both these teams in their pool are tied 1-1. This series right here, this is where it all matters. This will bring someone to second place in their pools, which, guess what? Which qualifies them for the World's Championship, which is huge.
That's what we're looking for.
That's right.
You're seeing so far, we're going into King of the Hill on Recharge. This is going to favor both of these teams, but you know what? I have a feeling. I truly have a feeling that NaVi can come out on top here. This Recharge is going to be so important, and I will say, man, so would that shock rifle, and so would the active camo.
We talked about this earlier, right? NaVi just had to make it to this game type. King of the Hill, one of G2's weaker game types. KotH said it himself, the coach. So NaVi making it this far is huge for them. They've got the momentum now. They've got the, the chance to take a lead in this series. And a lead is what they need right now. They build off this momentum, they continue on, they could close it out.
So if we're giving NaVi the favorites going into this game number 3, I want to take the devil's advocate.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
What do you want to see from G2 in order to come out on top in game 3?
I want to see a performance out of Sab, just like in that round one oddball game that they had on Streets. I feel like he played absolutely incredible. If he can bring out that type of performance, it doesn't have to just be him, Tony. It can be anyone on that G2 roster because all of them are capable. They've got to pop off. One player individually has to have that switch be flipped. Could really give them the edge.
King of the Hill on Recharge. Whenever I think about King of the Hill, I always think about rotations.
Yep.
It's okay to go down a hill, but you have to be set up for the next one. There's no shot that you can lose that bottom mid hill and not be prepared over towards the long haul.
Right.
Too much momentum. Too much time will be gained. It's all right to lose one. Can't lose 2 in a row.
Let's break that down too. I mean, that very first hill, it's very contested, right? That hill doesn't get taken for the first, 2 minutes in the game, first 3 minutes. And then that second hill, once the first team gets a lock, that's it, right? They can take that second hill easily. We've seen it many, many times. But you know what? I want to take a look at the pools real quick. Let's see what each team has kind of, had as a storyline for this event.
Looking into that pool C, we talked about it being Sentinels to win. I mean, come on, 3-0. We're no surprise here, but we are surprised that G2 and NaVi are tied up. This is wide open. NaVi may not be the favorites going into this matchup. I know as in North America, we love our G2, but NaVi have been playing well, and NaVi earned that game number 2 win. NaVi going into game number 3 as the favorites. Like you said, it's one of G2's weaker game types. There's a chance that we can see NaVi coming out in second place in Pool C.
Which would be huge. I mean, all these players, all season long, have been playing for Worlds. Of course, every event they've wanted to win, right? But they're playing for Worlds. Let's take a look at some King of the Hill stats here. It's Gilkey versus Mighty. Look at Gilkey's KD, 1.27 against the Phenom, the FFA Phenom and Mighty, that aggressive player, the Slayer. Gilkey stepping it up.
But when it comes to King of the Hill, Gilkey does play that back player role.
Yeah.
It's his job to make sure this KD's high, stay alive, put down damage. That's Gilkey's job. Mighty has a totally different role. Mighty has to get in there. He's the one that creates those openings. So, yes, the low KD in King of the Hill. But as long as he's putting down damage into multiple players, as long as he's putting his teammates in prime positioning to be successful, again, similar to Oddball, I'm okay with Mighty's having a low KD. I'm not okay with him maybe taking a little bit of a Slayer role and slowing things down, because then that might slow NaVi down completely.
Well, you talked about his damage. He had 5,700 there opposed to Gilkey's 46, I believe it was. So you're right in your assessment. That's why you're a professional, Tony. That's why you're here. You're doing a great job. 5,700 damage is a lot on King of the Hill. He's obviously that player that puts in the work, puts in the damage, opens up the map so that his team can get those hills and win the game, of course.
So far, the series is tied up at 1 apiece. It's G2 going up against NaVi in the swing game number 3. We talked about what's on the line, but one of these teams will be guaranteed a spot in Worlds. The other will have to really fight over towards the elimination bracket just to get into that round 3, just to get in position to do so. It starts here on Recharge. What's your keys to success?
Well, sword won't be a factor. Drop weapon won't be a factor. Both of those are G8. You know what's not GA, Tony? The shock rifle. First person to get that shock rifle and to utilize it well will be the victor in this match. And it all comes down to, once again, flipping that switch when you need it the most.
So far, we're going to switch gears over towards Barcode.
Whoa.
Putting in the work, finding a new spot, loving this. Staying alive, and as of right now, G2 already gaining control right off of the rip. But again, we talk about time and time again. It's not just about those kills. What happened to the resource? What happened to active camouflage? What happened to the shock rifle?
Resources are so very important. And again, this first hill, for everyone watching, a lot of teams opt to not go into this hill. It's too scrappy. You get caught out, you're isolated in a position at the bottom center of a map. Unless you have the slays, like NaVi do, by the way. G2 is 3 dead. This hill is not something you contend for. And you see right there, 3 dead, NaVi started getting the hill for hill time.
Kimbo not able to stay alive with the shock rifle. That's going to sit over toward the mid-map. Snakey taking a lot more damage than he expected, so he's quickly going to be taken down, and now those numbers advantage going in favor of G2. But of course, it's zMightys slowing the game down, waiting to line up the shock rifle, gets himself a perfect kill, almost a second, but looks like NaVi once again lose control of the shock.
It was a good shot by zMightys, but unfortunately now the shock rifle in the hands of G2, where you don't want it, especially with the fact that they're halfway to capping this very first hill.
Barcode. He's the only player I'm seeing really prioritize the disruptor. We've seen players back pocket it,
yeah,
but as far as really prioritizing it, making it your main weapon.
Maybe it's an Australian thing.
Oh, maybe this.
Maybe.
Maybe this. Barcode. He's been scanned. We know he's priceless. 1-0 lead in favor of G2. Now moving into that hill scene. This is what we talked about. Are NaVi set up for the next hill?
That's what it looks like. Snakey's on the top of glass. That's huge. But Kimbo out of position right here. If he goes down, it could be really bad for NaVi. They have the positioning on this second hill, but it all comes down to Kimbo staying alive, and unfortunately he does not. But the spawns come out from G2, so they still have that hill control.
G2 getting the spawns, but NaVi putting them right back into it, getting the slays they're looking for. An individual battle, really important Sab, putting Jimbo down to one shot. The nade comes in with the cleanup. Now he's just chasing away everybody over towards NaVi. Finally, Sab goes down, but we talk about it all the time, that entry damage being so important. G2 are pushing up with it.
Yeah, G2 are pushing up, but the thing that NaVi's doing that's impressing me is they're prioritizing that red push, right? You've got to make sure that you get top glass, that you push from that red side. You don't want to always push from C-plat, but you want to make sure you're pushing from that red side, get that top attic control, and really take control of that side of the map when it's that hill.
Height advantage is king.
It is.
I learned from Star Wars. They say, get to the low ground. No. Get to the
middle ground.
The middle ground. Yeah.
I don't think. Wait.
No?
I think it's high ground.
Get to the high ground.
Okay, we got it. Oh, goodness me.
Keeping that attic side control is going to be so important for both of these. And by the way, the game is still going on right now. We might have lost a little bit of our feed, but I hear them right now. They're going at each other. It's G2 going against NaVi. And again, we talked about this time and time again. This is game number 3. Winner of this game gains momentum in the series. So important.
Not only that, confidence. You win that game number 3, you come out strong in that game number 3, you're looking good. But someone who I want to come out strong is G2, right? This is their weaker game type. So how much confidence would it give them winning on their weaker game type and also their stronger game type coming into this series? I mean, it's going to be huge.
Well, if you want to see G2 come out strong, I want to see NaVi coming out strong.
Fine, we'll
fight. Let me tell you, teas and crumpets, I'm down.
Fine.
My man Dan in Jersey, I already know. I'm going EU all day.
Okay, fine.
North America,
G2.
y'all don't know what's going on.
Well, we got North America and Australia, if you think about it, in G2. So we got 2 different places that I'm rooting for both, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, and I heard you yesterday talking to Barcode. You said Australian players are terrible. I remember that, and he took that personally, Tony. And look at him. Now he's slaying out the competition. Now he's looking fierce. It's because of you.
I would never say that. I love Australia and everybody involved. I love me some Barcode too. When we come back, we're going to find out what's going on with G2 going up against NaVi. In favor of G2. Just one hill away from taking this game number 3. We talked about the momentum swinging in either G2 or NaVi's favor. Look at all that momentum.
I mean, this is one of their weaker maps, and they're playing phenomenal right now. We didn't get to see it, but we're back, which is great. 3-0, but NaVi looking to answer back, and Kimbo's got the shock rifle to do it.
Line of the shock rifle, body shot sends him back, able to trade out his life with Gilkey. 2 down for both of the teams. A third one gonna fall for NaVi. So Snakey doing a great job of stabilizing, keeping the numbers close. He might end up taking down both. Eventually, Snakey goes down. NaVi has to come off a spawn, and look how close G2 are. We're talking just seconds.
We haven't got to watch it, Tony, so look at the scoreboard here. Sab, 26-12, having a disgusting game thus far when he needs it the most.
Sab, one of the reasons why G2 are playing so lights out, but Sab ends up going down. NaVi have an opportunity to maybe put their first kill on the board. They got to get Barcode out. They're not able to do it. Barcode absolutely steals that hill away. A 4-0 sweep coming out of G2. And I thought you said, Callus, said that was their weaker game type. You lying to me? You lying to the fans?
I lied. I'm sorry. I just wanted to create a storyline, and I lied. No, I didn't lie. They just come out to play when it mattered the most. That's what it takes. That's what a good team does. That's what a professional, incredible team does. They come out to play when everything's on the line, and right now, everything is on the line.
2-1 lead in favor of G2. You are 1 round away, 1 game away from being able to take down NaVi and taking second place in pools, guaranteeing a spot in Worlds, but also guaranteeing your spot in the winner's bracket. We move on to that championship. It looks like game number 4 gonna be Strongholds on Livefire.
Strongholds on Livefire. The rotational play on this map is incredible. You have so many angles to play for. You got the sniper rifle. I call her Betty. I named her. That's right. The sniper rifle on the top center of the map, a very important power weapon to control potentially that top tower, to make sure you solidify that C-plat. That's going to be huge coming off the start of this game.
I think of the sniper rifle, I think of Gilkey.
Oh, yeah.
I think of Barcode. Either one of those 2 players, that sniper rifle in hand, and NaVi gonna be in trouble, but almost the same way. We know Jimbo can pop off. I know you watch his streams. Jimbo taking faces. Same for almost anybody in NaVi. You said this game really plays through that sniper rifle. Grab a hold of it, bait out that overshield, gain all of those resources. You come out with the win. G2 1 round away from sending NaVi packing until tomorrow.
You know the big thing here, Tony? Pressure applies to different people in different ways. Sometimes when you're under pressure, this amount of pressure, you play a phenomenal game. Sometimes you take it up a notch that no one's ever seen. And that's where stats don't matter. I know you love throwing papers, but that's where stats don't matter at that point, right? You're coming into this game, you get into that flow state. Anyone on both teams, I'm sure you would agree, have a chance to pop off here, have a chance to flip that switch. I think it's very important, especially right now.
So you're saying pressure can create diamonds, or it could burst pipes.
Ooh.
And we're gonna find out what's gonna happen here. G2, they start to put the nail in the coffin. They still have to put their stamp and end this series here. Meanwhile, NaVi have a very good chance to send this into a Game 5. You called the Game 5 before the series. I want to see a Game 5. You done hyped up us and the audience. I'm saying it. If G2 win it right here, we're all gonna come after you.
All right, that sounds good. Just don't hurt me, okay? But I love it. I would love a Game 5. Oh yeah, you don't stand a chance. I would love a Game 5. Game 5 would be great, and I think that NaVi has the potential to do so. We saw them in that game number 2. We saw them in that round number 2. These guys have that energy, have that fire, and it's just about making less mistakes. I know that sounds very trivial, but that's what it comes down to. The less mistakes one of these teams makes, you know, the less situation they're in to potentially lose positioning on the map or lose those power weapons.
One thing I love about G2 when watching them play Strongholds, I feel like they play such a structured game. They play through the double cap. They make sure that they get themselves that secondary round of slays, that third round of slays. So by the time they push in for the trip cap, not only do they have you down and spawning, but now they're able to find out where that pressure's coming from and continue to roll from there. G2 play a very fundamentally sound game. Maybe they can end it here.
That triple cap is deadly, Tony. You got B, right? You've got C plat, and then you've got A, and guess where they spawn? On that overshield. All in the open. In the open on grass. If they can set that up, that would be phenomenal, but it takes a lot of timing and a lot of positioning for that to happen.
Map number 4. G2 going up against NaVi. We have NaVi fighting for their pool play lives right now, desperately trying to send us into a Game 5. G2 trying to crush their hopes and dreams, send them back over the pond. G2 starting off with the early double cap.
You make tomorrow much easier. if you're NaVi and you clutch this game right here and send it to a game 5. This is a must-win for them, but guess who's got the overshield once again? G2 have been so good at controlling these power-ups.
You can't let Sab get away with an overshield, especially not the S7. He's already so aggressive with no OS. Now, with the double shields, he's gonna get right into your face. NaVi, you're gonna feel this pressure. Sab is coming.
That was a great play by Sab, right? He's got OS, he knows he can be in the front lines and apply pressure, and he's doing just that with his sniper rifle. He's landed 3 shots thus far, and that's been huge for his team to capitalize on, and now they have 2 caps.
Sab still having the sniper rifle. May not have the OS to work with, but he's gonna take off your head. That's the first one. Beautifully played by Sab. He's not done yet, rotating over toward the Bravo side. Easy slays going in. NaVi go 3 down, and G2 pushing in for that trip cap after they get the kills.
2 words, Tony. Flow state. Sab played phenomenal in the last game. We didn't get to watch it, but now he's continuing that in this game. And now Overshield is coming up. If they can time the slays perfectly, potentially G2 capitalize on another OS.
Somebody needs to tell NaVi the game started. Because as of right now, they don't look present on the map. They got no points. They got no sniper. They got no chance. Sab is taking faces.
He is not missing shots whatsoever. They finally take him out, but he was out of sniper ammo anyway. 3 go down for G2, so a momentum swing. But that OS is coming up, and G2 are gonna have the spawns on that side of the map. The timing not really working out in the favor of NaVi, but I believe they do pick it up.
Double cap in favor of NaVi, able to weather the storm. G2 were coming out way too hot. NaVi needed to heat check them. That's exactly what they did, but Snakey taking more damage than expected. Down to 1 shot, he goes, avoids the plasma pistol, a full wipe. The same way we saw G2 dominate NaVi in the early game, we're now seeing NaVi do the same.
And they got a triple cap, and guess what? It all comes down to that sniper being off the map, out of Sab's hands. He's not able to capitalize with just the battle rifle, and because of that, NaVi have a triple cap and are catching up to this lead quickly. Look at that. They've held this triple cap for over 10 seconds just now.
NaVi take the lead. Was started off as a 60-0 run in favor of G2. Where did it go? NaVi
Gone.
have now taken control. Sab gonna try to make his way over toward the garage side. He has some backup with him onto Barcode. Kimbo thinks it's an individual gunfight. Can't win that one. And now with that, G2 look to advance forward.
Sab is on fire right now. We've got to pay attention to this guy. 7-3 to start this game. He's definitely in a flow state. I love to see it. You gotta love it when you can get into a flow state in a tournament like this when the pressure is so great. 65-80. Looks like NaVi holding really tightly onto this lead, but G2 catching up.
And the man is in the zone. Watch out for Sab, but it's still NaVi to have control. 4 members up, able to find the first kill onto G2. With that, they will look to get aggressive. We talk about it time and time again. You play through the double cap, you get those kills, secure those kills, then you push it for the trip cap. Step 1 complete.
You know what I'm noticing? On the side of NaVi, you don't have any player that's really popping off. It's a group effort, and you love to see that because it's so structured. Sab somehow stays alive on the map. And because of that, he pressures B. That was a great play. And 3 down for NaVi. Momentum is shifted.
G2 working on Bravo and Charlie at the same time, controlling that tower side of the map. They want the elevation. NaVi just want to capture to work with. Down to 8. They haven't been able to capture it yet. Finally, NaVi able to steal away, but it takes 2 to tango. G2, they have control.
NaVi playing underneath the map here. With the West coming up, this is huge, but you've got a Barcode with a sniper on top tower. They've got to prioritize him, make sure they get him to no shields, take him out, because if they don't, things like this are gonna happen.
Barcode, baiting that overshield to perfection, able to steal away the kill. NaVi once again falling in numbers. Again, sniper rifle in the hands of G2, overshield in the hands of G2. Control, numbers, lead, everything for G2. NaVi, they gotta wake up.
So many people ask me why a coach is important. This is it right here. When you're in the moment, when you're in the zone, like you mentioned, Tony, the coach can be that 5th eye for you to see the whole game out of 4 perspectives. And that's what Coach Callis is doing right here. And these players are taking full advantage.
G2 not only taking full advantage of their coach, but also taking full advantage of the mistakes that NaVi are starting to make. Barcode in for the challenge onto Snakey, somehow doesn't able to get the kill. NaVi had to play through it. Kimbo immediately taking control onto the next side. Shots start to ring out. He has to stay alive. He needs the help. Where's the rest of his team? I guess he doesn't need one. He wins an individual piv, but eventually Kimbo goes down. So do 3 members of NaVi. G2 once again with the double cap.
And now G2 have control, right? They forced the spawns at A. They know exactly where NaVi is spawning. And guess what? They're going to be able to utilize that information and perform a pinch, but this heat wave is going to be a huge factor. Barcode had it.
A 170 to 93 lead. G2 started off early. They struck first, and now they're looking to strike last. Again, G2 one win away from sending NaVi to tomorrow, but it looks like NaVi, they're fighting back. They will not go down without a fight. Right over to the seaside they go. Barcode looks to take height. NaVi, they take powers.
Time is ticking here. NaVi starting to catch up in the game. The game is slowed. But something very important is coming up. The top center of the map. It's going to be the sniper in 2 seconds. Whoever takes control of that, and also the overshield. This is a pivotal point right here. At 6 minutes, both of them come up. And look at Gilkey. You talked about him being the sniper. Hits a beautiful shot to trade those kills. 2 down for NaVi.
Gilkey does not die when he has the sniper in hand. The man simply makes plays. Not just with the S7, but with the BR. Make the player one shot, but finally, that will shift hands. But he ends up in the hands of Barcode. He's not only a nasty sniper, he has the OS. NaVi, things went from bad to worse. Barcode is on your tail.
I talked about this, Tony, a switch you can flick, and it looks like G2 has done just that. You see it just in their playstyle, their aggression, the confidence coming out of all these players on G2. Barcode with the sniper, he had OS as well, looking to capitalize. They only need 55 seconds more to close out this game.
And we're almost at the 200-point mark here for G2, and NaVi, this is getting a bit out of hand. We do see NaVi making their way onto Bravo. Love to see that. They have to finish off the capture. And while this happens, G2, they're working on Charlie. G2 not only doing a great job of slaying out, but they're even out-rotating NaVi when they start to find the kills.
And when you out-rotate and you know where the spawns are happening, you can perform a pinch, which has been happening so many times. Sav once again, a big kill out of him with that heat wave. G2 have controlled all the power weapons. It's gonna take NaVi controlling those power weapons if they want to come back in this game. B is being taken.
Well, luckily Kimbo has the S7. That nade doing whatever it wants, but luckily that those BR shots always hit. G2 find himself 3 down. NaVi being gentlemen, introducing them to the kill feed, but now also looking for those spawning players. He knows it's coming from C. The reticle is trained on him. Nobody pushing the bridge just yet. G2 being very patient.
I love that too. Gilkey decides to go top tower, the most important position on the map, and he utilizes that to get those opening kills. Now 2 down for NaVi, and G2 taking A, but they get the trades, which is huge.
Once again, G2 find itself with 2 caps. Those trades and slays clearly going in favor of them, but NaVi getting those clean rounded kills. Right with the overshield is coming up, NaVi well positioned around a straight 6, trying to go in for a flank. He ends up being caught. Kimbo throwing some denial grenades, deny access to G2. Gilkey, not gonna happen. It looks like a second one goes down. That's gonna be a double kill for Kimbo. This man's shot is lethal, and look at the scoreboard. It's going in favor of NaVi. They might be able to steal the game away.
That was a huge play by Kimbo. That just changed the entire trajectory of this game. He was able to get 2 kills while overshield was up, and that netted them that overshield, and it's also going to give them the ability to catch up in this game. They've got a triple cap on the board, and they're about to tie this up.
Trip cap for NaVi. G2, the game is slipping from their grasp. All they had to do was close their fist. All they had to do was pull it closer. They weren't able to do it. NaVi have taken control. They've taken the lead, and we're getting awfully close to that 250 mark.
210 to 199. Very important next couple moments in this game. Barcode once again with the power weapon in hand, and G2 has done such a good job of utilizing these power weapons. Look how much damage he's going to be able to do with this unless he gets taken out by the X-Factor Snakey. Big kill by Snakey right there. He's going to collapse, and they're going to get the kills, but 2 down for NaVi, only 1 for G2.
Oftentimes we talk so much about those assists, and as of right now, NaVi are winning the assist battle, but not winning the slaves battle. Just go 3 down. G2 momentarily have a trip cap on you, or at least a double right now. They're starting to gain points. NaVi, they're just 25 seconds away from taking the game, but they've been stopped short.
12 to 225, a 2 cap on the board for G2, so NaVi playing on their back foot, but they're going to convert onto B. You see double pressure from Nest here. This could be a big play coming up, Tony.
NaVi steal away Bravo. And now for Bravo, setup being put into play. Kimbo off a screen, finds the kill. He's looking for it. The nade starts to fly. zMightys ends up going down. We talk about that damage. NaVi can play through it. Snakebite, so snaky. Sights on the overshield, going right at it. So now the overshield's been claimed by NaVi. We have G2 at the 223-point mark. They need to do something with that overshield, and getting trip cap wasn't a part of the plan.
And unfortunately, it's halfway gone. He's got a member down on his team, that's zMightys. So 229 to 233. NaVi had the lead momentarily, but G2 steal it from underneath them. These next couple slays are huge. They get 2 down. Gilkey's not able to convert. A great trade there by Snakey.
Look at that. At this point, that's it. It's mathematically impossible. No, they don't take Charlie. And NaVi end up diving right into Alpha. G2 go 3 down. I thought it was about to be it, but G2 weren't able to keep Alpha. They rotate early towards Charlie. NaVi find himself into B. If So Snakey dies here, that might be it. The nades are starting to rain. G2 are starting to get in. Gilkey's able to reset here. 248 points, just 2 more seconds needed. NaVi get in the hill, but NaVi go 4 down.
What an incredible triple kill by Gilkey right there. They close out the series. G2 are going to be second in their pool and qualify for Worlds.
I thought NaVi were going to steal it away. I thought we were going to see a game number 5. G2 doing everything it takes to take it away from the last moment. My dreams have been crushed here as G2 are advancing forward. Like you said, second place in pools, guaranteeing themselves going into Worlds, and also starting in the winner's bracket of Championship going into tomorrow.
What an incredible game to close out today. I mean, Gilkey with that triple kill. NaVi even got the last overshield. That was their moment, but they got out-rotated.
When you have that overshield, you got to take advantage. You have to play through it. G2 almost sacrificed that overshield and immediately moved for the trip cap. NaVi dedicated all of their resources. You saw 3 players surrounding that OS. G2 said, okay, cool, you have it. We'll take the trip cap. We're so close to stealing the game. At this point, these points are what matters. And you know what? It worked. I will say, though, if NaVi were a split second ahead, they end up taking the dub cap, maybe a trip cap of their own, and maybe we see a game 5.
I really want to focus on what you just said. NaVi sent 3 players towards OS, right? But guess who was on the opposite side of Overshield pushing towards B? It was G2. And that's what got them that win. Gilkey, of course, with the triple kill to close it out.